Welcome to another episode of On the Capo Stand. I am your host David. I'm here with our good friend John. John, how you doing?
Doing all right, David. How are you?
Doing fantastic. And I want to thank everybody that is bright and early with us. We got a game, a game. We have a show packed with things. And my apologies that I'm speaking 1,000 miles an hour. I got a big day tomorrow. I'm traveling. I gotta get up at 4 in the morning. So I just wanna real quick another beauty from Stevenage, from my friends over there that they sent me this beauty. By the way, this is the label of a beer that our manager Steve Evans drinks when they win. So they basically just put his face there and his name. So as the Broadway Hall friends over there in England. Real quick with some news. Some news I would like to get out of the way. This past weekend, Puerto Rico defeated Suriname via PKs. Wilfredo Rivera was a starter. Our subs were Beto Hidrach, Academy product, OCB former player, UCF player at the moment, who scored one of the penalty kicks, and Ian Silva, who is a former OCB player on the City Academy product and who is playing with Gonzaga at the moment. One of my favorite Maccabi Haifa players, Yaron Sherry, was playing for Suriname. I wanted to go to the game, but nobody wanted to drive. Nobody wanted the rain delay. Nobody wanted that. I could have had a blast. I could have been with all those Maccabi Haifa fans there in South Florida, all the Puerto Rico fans, but that's a thing for another day. I could, like I was telling John, I could have said, "Hey, it's Father's Day. That's what I want doing." But I'm not gonna pull that card, guys. Puerto Rico is going to be facing Martinique tomorrow at 7 p.m. on FS2 and in Spanish in 2DN. So if you guys wanna check out our Lions, go ahead and do that. Galesa and Cartagena are in Korea. Peru defeated 1-0 South Korea. Tomorrow, Tuesday, they're going to be playing Japan at 5 a.m. And Facu Torres is with Uruguay, who defeated 4-1 Nicaragua. And tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Is going to be playing against Cuba. Also, Ronaldinho, legends of the game, Ronaldinho and Roberto Carlos are going to be having a press conference tomorrow. They are going to be introducing the benefit game, the beautiful game, this Friday, 7 p.m. That's going to be played at Exploria. And there's going to have some star-studded cast. I don't know who they are. Obviously, that's why they are going to have
Donnie's going to be there.
Oh, listen, go and support my boy. I'm not going to be there because I'm going to be out of town, unfortunately. But go support and go show him some love. For the love of God, go see the old El Capital. So with that said, let's see. Did something happen this weekend? Oh yeah, Pride fell 3-0 against North Carolina Courage, and OCB to Chicago Fire 1-0. So we took 3 L's. That obviously did not feel well. We went up to New England, where I'm heading out tomorrow to the state of Massachusetts. And we took a big fat L 3-1 against New England Revolution. John, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it a couple times since Sunday morning, actually, since I posted my reaction. And, wasn't as bad as I said in my reaction. I thought that a little bit better goalkeeping, we probably walk away with the win. We had some very good chances. Um, first and especially in the second half when we were down a goal. Um, just a couple really little things went wrong. And the other, the big thing that I saw is it just looks like the team was afraid to shoot to make a move on net until it was too late. In the first half, 2/3 of the way through the first half or so, there was one where Pereira sits there, gets the ball 12 yards from goal, man on his back, and instead of turning and trying to do something. And I know he's more of a distributor than a goal scorer, but in that position, you have to be a little bit selfish, try to get a peek at the net and get a shot on. And instead, he didn't even give it a look and passed it 15, 20 yards backwards to Felipe, who, which he did this most of the game, fumbled the ball, and off goes New England the other way. A couple good chances that we had. Our expected goals were actually higher than New England's. And got unlucky 3 times, ironically, defensively, and just really disappointed. I don't know what was going on with Mason. From what I've seen from him in an Orlando City jersey, it was unlike him to, especially that first goal, make the mistake he made, because that when he tried to parry that away, that was number one thing you don't do as a goalkeeper is parry it into the middle of the field. And that's exactly what he did, was parry it right to the middle of the center of the box. And sure enough, like a good team's going to have, is there was somebody there to gather it in and put it in the back of the net. What do you think, David? I could go on forever.
No, that's fine, my brother. We conceded on the 51st minute, 69. So Boateng, Bo, who seems to be scoring at will against Orlando City. Then on the 80th minute, we take one back. Duncan McGuire, acting like a beast. Assist from Holiday and Angulo. I guess Holiday had the hockey assist. And then when we thought that maybe we were gonna eat our words and maybe we could skip with another draw like we have seen before, unfortunately, Carlos Gil had something to say about that and buries it on the 85th minute. I think 2 of the goals could have been prevented. We had several starters missing. Obviously, Galese, Cartagena, Kyle Smith, and Antonio Carlos in suspension. Torres. So obviously, we're going against very strong team that are on top of the table with a very good manager on conditions that were not ideal. It's turf. It's this plastic NFL turf, and then on top of that, you have it's wet. It rained. Start late. It's a wet surface. Anything can happen. But I'm gonna say it like that meme for Arsenal fan TV. It was raining for both teams.
Exactly.
It was raining for both teams. So I don't know. In all honesty, MLS needs to stop this charade. We can punish teams because they have good enough players that they play national teams. You are handicapping these clubs. Listen, just don't let them play. You don't want to stop the league. Don't let them play and make them play Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Do that, something like that. But don't punish teams. I think, if anything, if you can see silver lining on this, we lost against a very good team. Losing to a team at the bottom hurts your chances of making playoffs. And friends, we're making playoffs. Not because we're good, not because we can score goals, not because our manager is a masterclass tactician. It's because this league is making sure that 9 teams out of 15 in the East are making playoffs. It's that simple. It's harder to miss the playoffs than to make them. Facts. And if you thought, hey, maybe I wanna finish on top of the table so I can secure home advantage, it doesn't matter because the first leg is home and away. So at least you can finish. Let's say you finish 8th, you host the wild card game. It's not called that, but I'm gonna call it like that because this is the United States. We're Americans. We can do whatever we want. We own the planet. You know that. We're arrogant. And anyways, we invented the internet. That's it. So I'm gonna say it. And before I give the microphone to John, you can host that, and then you go and you get your teeth kicked in by the team that finishes first, and then you at home, and then you go over there and you embarrass yourself. So, guys, at least we're guaranteed 2 playoff games at home coming up. So that we're gonna win the MLS Cup. If you believe that, I have a bridge in Brooklyn that I can sell you. So, John, anything that stood out to you? Because there's a topic that you and I were talking about before we started the show that I think deserves our attention.
Yeah. To go on what you were saying, it hit me today why they don't make a pause for the international break. Because then Don the Clown Garber can't sit there and say there's the parity in the league. You know how all the teams are so bunched up and there's not that big of a difference between teams. Well, of course there's not. When you stop when and the top teams or most of the top teams don't have their top players, of course they're probably going to lose. When you have to call academy players up because the league won't let you have a roster big enough to play all first team players and don't give you the salary cap, the room in the salary, availability to purchase those players. Of course they're not. So, I think it's a parity thing. I think it's something that they've hidden in the league, saying that hey, there's parity in the league. Look at the bottom team only finished 15 points below the top team. That's not that bad for a what is it, 16 team division, or 15, whichever league you play in.
Yeah, 15.
16. So I mean, I think that's it. And before I hit on my next topic, can we read the comments we got real quick? I want to touch on one of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm so sorry. Coming mid drink.
Jim D. OC got moved from the kids table to the adult table. I hope we can be competitive with these better teams. Also, the subs were way too late. Absolutely. I mean, we subbed in the 45th minute. Subs were way too late. That's typical Poppy fashion. This is the one I wanted to hit on. William, this isn't against you, but this is OC fandom as a whole. But William Aguilar said, I don't suffer too much for the result. I think it was expected all the way through, especially since the international break took some of our players. Listen, if we want to be a top team and we want to win, we have to win whether we have our top players or not. Just like Wednesday, which we'll touch on in a minute. Because Philadelphia is missing more than we are to the international break. That's now a must win. Whereas if we would have at least drawn on Saturday, Wednesday would not be as much of a must win in this short span of time. Because guess what? Saturday we're heading out to Seattle. And I'm sorry, I don't want to travel out to Seattle on, Thursday morning. It's a 5-6 hour flight. I don't care how comfortable of a airplane you're in. I've made that flight before. And then the next day play a soccer game. And it just goes with what this fandom has become under Oscar Pereira, and the settling for the minimum and being okay when we, put on an okay performance against the bad teams, but then we always find an excuse when we play a good game. Oh, the goalkeeper stood on his head. Oh, if this shot would have went in. Oh, we were missing this many. Listen, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm tired of the fan base making excuses for performances like what we saw Saturday. There's no reason. Late in the game, Mikey Holiday has the ball with a decent angle to go across the net or near post with a shot, and instead he tries to send it across. And William, I'm not saying you're wrong at all. You're right. I mean, I kind of felt the same way, but then got irritated at myself because I'm like, no, we should win. I know we're going to lose games, but we should be, as a supporter of a professional sports team, you should be going into every competition expecting a win. And when you're not, that's just sad. William just commented again, David. William, respond with, you're right, John. I had the same mentality against Philly away, and we won that one time. So, yes, we should be able to compete without top players. I appreciate it. Like I said, your first comment, you weren't wrong. Just touched a nerve on me.
No, and I have something to add to that, John.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that Will is not that far off the target in the sense that yes, we should win when our key players are not there. But just like you said, MLS keeps our roster so tiny. When I speak with friends and I tell them that our roster is 32 people, friends from overseas, I should say, they are shocked. The fact that if you have an academy player, you have to sign them to a first team contract, otherwise they can't come to play a game for you. It's outrageous.
And
I
there's
think our
stipulations on that too. Don't forget that if he makes so many appearances, he can't go back to Orlando
it's
City B or the academy.
exactly, and that to me is mind blowing that we are Mickey Mouse in our league. These are the things that a lot of the people who criticize the league does do so rightfully so. I will say because we create these situations where you're handcuffing teams in the league. Is it a surprise that we can never seem to defeat Mexican teams in well, it used to be called CONCACAF Champions League, and I was Champions Cup. And it's because they don't have those same restrictions. It's you're going to a fight with a hand tied behind your back every single time, and it's just. And you know what? When Seattle went to the Club World Cup, we got shellacked.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because those teams don't have the same restrictions as us. MLS at some point has to take the kiddie wheels off. And so, yeah, and this is for every team out there. I think it's unjust. And I think the players understand that. And when Oscar Pareja looked at the calendar, he was like, yep, we're just going to surrender those points. And we prepare the best. But unfortunately, I mean, some of the talent, Antonio Carlos, Kyle Smith, Galese, Cartagena, who has been a revelation in the midfield. And he's not even an Orlando City player. He's a lone knee player alongside with Angulo. Friends, what I'm saying is that if we don't pull the money, they may be gone in December. And you see that, and it is concerning. It is concerning. It is concerning. Listen, I'm going to tell you, to me, what is concerning is that a player like Moises Tablante that I've been big on. I've been big on Moises Tablante. His father listened to my show for many years when I was doing Tiro de Esquina in Spanish. I have met him. He came on my show, and we interview him. The kid is super talented, and he is with the national team, the Venezuelan national team right now, alongside with Ojeda for a reason. And the reason why we can bring this kid up is because he doesn't have a green card. It's gonna take an international spot. The same story. So we are cheating ourselves of talent, and that's gonna usher the next thing I wanted to say briefly, because I think it's gonna bring the one subject, John, that we wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You have this past weekend, we crowned ourselves champions of CONCACAF in the Gold Cup after defeating Mexico, humiliating Mexico. Let me rephrase that: we're humiliating Mexico. Mexico right now, go on YouTube. If you're bilingual, you're gonna have twice the amount of videos. They don't know why I hit them. The one thing they know is that we're actually doing something right about it. They have confused success against MLS as success over the national team. And the national team sat them down, gave them pen and paper, and taught them the game that they were supposed to be the giants of CONCACAF. They were supposed to be the masters of CONCACAF. And they were sent to school. There's nothing more humiliating than losing by goleada. For those that don't know the term, goleada is when the other team scores 3 or more unanswered goals. That's why exactly we did. And then we go against Canada, a team that has relegated Mexico to defeat hardly defeat a Panamanian squad that gave them a run for the money for the third place, and Canada that displayed how many former Lions, John? 4 or 5, something like that.
I think 5 total, including.
My goodness, all those guys were purple at one point. I want to cry when I see that. So let's talk about our situation at goalkeeping.
Okay.
Real quick, John, and let me introduce the subject, and I'll let you run wild. Um, how can I say this without offending this young man? Mason Stoddard has been here since 2015. He was one of our first, I believe he was the first homegrown signee. He, unfortunately, as we all know, had to battle leukemia, I believe he was. And I am super excited, super happy to see this young man beating it, surviving it, to the point where he's today, he's married, has a family. And I think, which, by the way, happy Father's Day to everybody. I'm sorry that we forgot to mention that. I hope that everybody had a great time. Myself and John are parents, fathers, so had a great time. Went to see my dad, and it was awesome. My kids got me absolutely nothing. Just so you know.
I at least got a lunchbox for work, which I actually needed.
Look at it. I know your son did not buy you that, bro.
No, I bought myself that with my girlfriend buying it.
There you go. No, I got the love and affection from my family. That's the
definitely. We just hung out all day and spent time together, watch golf, and then watch the U.S. Be as I say jokingly, Canada.
yeah, for sure, my friend. So to finish what I was saying, so John can add to that. So yeah, great guy. We sent him on loan to what was then Tulsa Roughnecks. Now it's Tulsa FC. The guy got shellacked. I'm not gonna lie to you. He had a nightmarish loan. But at the time, I used to stay in contact with a Puerto Rican guy that was a former Central Florida resident that was living in Tulsa, and I was following that club. And he said, well, he really doesn't have a good defense in front of him. That's the reason why things are the way they are. And he came back. He has been with OCB. Has not been stellar. His best time was in Open Cup last year. And my friends, the second Oscar Pareja knew that his job was on the line, and all the eggs were in the basket of Open Cup. We pulled him back, gave that starting role to Pedro Galese. I don't want to judge him too harshly because every time he plays in front of a makeshift players, because obviously people are gone. Obviously Pedro's gone. But at some point we have to understand that our number 2 has to be just as good as our number 1. I think Ojeda's the future from OCB. He has the height, he has the skill. He's much younger. He costs less. He's ours. Greenwis, unfortunately, I think he still has a few years left of playing time for him. He should go to USL and be a starter instead of being a practice squad guy. And I'm gonna say it. I think Mason needs to be our number 3, based on what I've seen. And John, tell me what you think. And again, I say this, with the caveat that, hey, Mason make me eat my words. So, go ahead, John.
Yeah, obviously, when we say anything negative about one of the players or one of the coaches, we say it out of a want to win. And if we have to eat our words, we will. Yeah, if we have to eat our words, we will. We'll happily eat our words. If they come out and have a performance that's like, hey, guess what? Off you guys. This is how good I actually am. But yeah, I mean, I'll be a little more critical. The job of a goalkeeper is, obviously the last line of defense. Defenders are going to make mistakes, and you hope there's somebody between the goalposts that is going to be able to clean up those mistakes. We're extremely blessed, I guess you could say, to have Pedro as our keeper. Top, in my opinion, and look at the work he's laid out for everybody. Top goalkeeper in the MLS. There's very few, if anybody, that you can say is just as good or better than him. He makes at least once a match makes a save that you just go, oh my goodness. Save of the year last year on an absolute just gem of a save. And, so we're very fortunate in that aspect. And then, Mason has done a good job as our backup in the past. But I feel like Sunday really showed his weakness. That first goal, could the defending have been better? Yes, but that's why there's a goalkeeper there, because the defense isn't going to be able to stop everything and is going to make mistakes. When he parried that into the middle, I said it before, you do not parry the ball into the middle like that. And he did it, and sure enough, New England scored. And then the second and third goal were, very good strikes. I'm not going to say that they were worldies by any means, but he wasn't even close on either of them. Late to react, came up short on the jump. And I feel like Alessio would have at least gotten one, if not both of those. So, with that being said, he is limited. That's why he's a backup. That's why no other team has picked him up yet. That's why he hasn't moved to Europe or, moved, even potentially to a USL squad is because they see his weaknesses. And like you were saying, that the goalkeeper for Orlando City B is the future. And I'm even going to go a little bit further in the future. I'm going to leave his name out because he's still a kid, out of respect for him and his family. But if you're on Twitter, you know who I'm talking about. He's a U17 for the academy, been called up multiple times for the U16 national youth team, starts for the national youth team. Actually led the academy, the U17s today to a win in the end of season tournament for MLS Next Pro, whatever the academy system's called. They won today in penalty kicks. So I really think he, if he keeps progressing like he is, he is our true keeper of the future in 5-6 years from now, potentially, maybe even sooner. Maybe we have a diamond in the rough and he's able to, sprout almost like Slonina did, and then get picked up, unfortunately for the club, get picked up from a team over in England. But, I hope for Mason's sake he has a better match on Wednesday. If he stops one of the last two goals, or even makes a better save on the first goal, obviously it changes the direction of the game. And I don't know if you realized, David, but did you realize who New England's keeper was?
Earl Edwards Jr., picked up in the draft in 2015. Awesome guy. Person I had the pleasure of talking to Earl several times. While he was here, he loved it. He loved Orlando. He was very good friends with Christian Higuita. He got married, started a family. Earl, the landlord, let's not forget him. Edwards, he did fantastic at OCB. Mm-hmm. Left us for DC. He was in Philadelphia, really, for some time, and now he's with DC. No, listen, I'm happy for him on a personal level. Obviously, if you're gonna have a good night, don't have that against Orlando. But yeah,
he made some very good saves.
He sure did. Great understanding. And one of the things about Earl, why he was let go from Orlando. He was when what was his name?
Bendik.
Yeah, Joe Bendik decided
which will be facing this Wednesday.
Goodness, listen, stop it. I suffer from heart conditions, high blood pressure. Uh-huh. Listen, when Joe Bendik decided to have an affair with the sideline reporter and decided to poison the well here in Orlando, decided that he was gonna be playing bad, and he just completely crapped the bed against the very, very worst manager that he could have done that, which is JOC. That JOC does not forgive. You screw up, out of here. And JOC is a big family guy, so he was really not liking what he was seeing on a personal level. Earl was given the opportunity. I don't know if you guys remember, we tried Earl, and then we tried Greenwis, and Earl had some whoppers, and then he got hurt, and then Greenwis finished the season. And at that point, the club made the decision that Earl had to go. He had been here, like I said, since 2015. Uh, it was just bad timing because obviously he has been able to succeed as a backup wherever he has been, and I believe he's a season or two away from being a starter in this league. Pedro Galese, it took him 7 years to break through, and I was sharing with John that the story that Pedro Galese had said in an interview that at some point he was almost about to quit because he said, "Hey, I've been here for 7 years. I have a family. My friends have gone to college. My friends are doing careers. I can be in the reserves playing against in front of no one but the cleaning staff." And thankfully for us, he did not. So yeah, at some point, guys, we have to make a decision. I think right now, without disrespecting Mason, the drop in talent between Pedro Gales and him is abysmal. It is abysmal, and we can't have that. And I have some comments that I would like for you to read, John. But before I point to those, our academy, guys, is producing a lot of talent. A lot of talent that is going to the NCAA, that is going overseas, straight picked up from our academy to play overseas. Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands as U.S. territories, they have a lot of investment in our academies. That's why every time these two U.S. territories with their national teams, that I'm making air quotes for those that are listening to us, because they're not independent nations. They're, when they play the U.S., the 22 players on the pitch, they're all American citizens. They're all citizens of the same country. So when those those territories pick, they have big communities in Orlando. They have a lot of invested in our academy, and the guys from Puerto Rico that played this week, they didn't play against just anybody. Maybe Suriname is not a giant in CONCACAF, but they had players that like Sherry, who with Maccabi Haifa went to the UEFA Champions League this past year, won a championship in Israel. The first three penalty takers, one played in Israel, the other one played in the Netherlands, the other one played in Belgium, first division, by the way. And they had a lot of talent, a lot of years, and our little academy kids from Orlando City just gave them a run for their money and beat them. So our academy is producing good talent.
Yes.
So when we're talking about that, hey, we have this guy in the academy, yeah, pay attention to that in the future. Let's read some of these comments, John.
Definitely. Double C's music. I agree with you, William. You seem familiar. And then again, do you guys think Facundo Torres would stay another season after this one? He seems like one of those players that should be in Europe. I'll touch on that in a minute. I was hoping to bring it up today. And after we read the last comment,
I want to revisit this one in a second. Let's read Jim's question.
Jim D. Yep, I think as a team we tend to be very keeper dependent because we don't score goals.
That's true.
Let me hit on Jim D's first, and then we can talk about the Paku situation. So yeah, I mean when you do what the team did on Saturday and forfeit possession, like they did, and try to run on the counter, you're going to be very goalkeeper dependent, especially when guys aren't willing to take shots at the other team's net, and that's just the way soccer is. I've said it before. I'll die on this sword. A sponge can only soak up so much pressure or so much water until eventually water starts leaking out. So yeah, now on the Facundo thing, I know the club is still trying to work with Facundo to sign him to an extension. The two sides have not agreed to an extension yet, and basically the club's not looking to sell him. It would have to be an offer so great that they'd be moronic to pass it up. But as far as the offers that they've been presented from clubs overseas, they're not looking to sign him or to sell him. They want to keep him. It sounds like they want to try to keep him long term. I think the slow start he's had to the season has helped keep him here, has lessened, the attention he may have gotten from other from clubs in Europe. Do you have anything to add to that, David?
No, for sure. Yeah, I would like to add to that. The situation with Facundo Torres is a simple one. Facundo Torres is a national team player for Uruguay, one of the giants in South America, one of the few teams that can say, hey, we have won the World Cup more than once, by the way. And he came to us from one of the giants of football, not only in Uruguay, but in South America with Peñarol. So he's just not some kid. Let's just say that. The question here is what Facundo Torres wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Facundo Torres is expecting a daughter here in a few weeks, basically. He's a young guy, 22 years old, already, with the responsibility of a family. Does he want to go to Europe? Just anywhere? I mean, then Facundo Torres right now. Facundo Torres can go to Israel, can go to Belgium, can go to Scotland, Wales,
Portugal too. Portugal's another one I've heard.
Yeah, Portugal, Spain. Obviously, the language helps. He came and goes second division Germany or France. It's a championship or League One in England, but is that really where he wants to go? I mean, do you want to go to the first division of San Marino just to say you're playing first division in Europe? That's the argument I used against a lot of people. And by the way, if the joke went over your head, San Marino's a small country landlocked in the Italian peninsula with 53,000 people, and I think they haven't won a game in a decade. And I think last year they scored the first goal in 12 years. So the team that is based out of San Marino plays in the Italian third division, I think. Yeah. If you want to go to a small European country just to say I play in Europe, the opportunity for Facundo Torres is there for sure. But I think he's comfortable here. He's in good hands. Orlando Florida as a whole gives itself to be a great place for people that come from Latin America. The people speak Spanish here. There's a lot of Hispanic people. There's a lot of culture. You don't feel like you are away from home, and the food, all that, the culture. And besides, our club, top to bottom, is very friendly towards Latin Americans. Let's just say that. So is he willing to go to another country with a different language that is not English or Spanish to rough it out? I don't know. That's the question. Mm-hmm. I know that Arsenal was hot on this kid, but, this half of the season has not gone his way. And, highlights is what sells people. Right, John?
Yeah, definitely.
He doesn't have that many. So
they got on him because of the goal he scored against them in July.
The only goal that anybody scored against Arsenal in their American tour was that. If Facundo Torres, listen, I'm gonna tell you this: if Facundo Torres makes it to the All-Star game, which is against Arsenal, we may sell him. If he goes there and whatever minutes that he has, he makes a meal out of it. If he does, then I can start stroking the fires of hey, this guy's gonna go, because the fact of the matter is that, and I know this for a fact. When big teams in Europe play, I don't care if they are doing an exhibition in some village in the middle of Africa that nobody ever heard of, it's gonna make news. And if somebody scores against that team, everybody wants to sign him. It's historic among the big teams in Europe because they always say we're the best. If this guy can score against us, we want him because he's that good. So we'll see. With that said, my friend,
let's go with the one new comment since we're on transfer talk.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Thank you, my brother. This one.
Double C's Music again asked, is Orlando City able to make another signing at this point of the season? I mean, I know we have an international spot that we picked up in a trade earlier this season. It might have been preseason. Other than that, I believe we're full. DPs were full. Under 22s were full. And we basically, as far as players not from the United States and as far as MLS's crazy roster rules go, we basically have one international spot.
Yeah. Mike Gramajo said, and this is somebody that he posted on Twitter, I've been fighting the idea of returning to that cesspool just to get information. But I remain steadfast. Somebody shared this. Mike Gramajo posted that we're actually not going to sign anybody. We're going to have a very quiet summer window. Just don't have the money, don't have the personnel. Like you said, John, we don't have the room. I think if I'm a betting man, that international spot is going to go to Moises Tablante. Just throwing it out there. There's quite a possibility. There was some rumors that at the end of last season looked very hot that we were going to trade Kara to another, within the league. But again, who wants to take that huge contract for such little contribution? You know what I mean? I mean, like, the guy got hot for 4 games, and last thing I know, they set out the dogs to go find him. He's missing. So,
yeah, definitely.
That's what we have. Let's go ahead, guys, and talk about our next opponent. John already mentioned Philadelphia at home this Wednesday, 7:30 at 655 West Church Street. All roads lead to Exploria Stadium. Go support your Lions. I'm going to be out of town. I'm mad because that means that by the time I get to see the boys live, another month is going to go by this year. The calendar has been brutal with your boy. Brutal, merciless. I don't know. I will spare you the pain. But, like I said, I got to pay the bills. So Philadelphia right now, they are sitting at 4th place. So right there doesn't sound good. They have a record of 9-5-3. Their home record is 6-1-2, which we had that. They're away 3-4-1. So they are not a very good away team. We're not a very good home team. So I don't know how that is going to translate. Our games against them have been dicey lately. I think last year when they came to Orlando, it was weird because it was the same night that Chelsea was playing Arsenal at the Citrus Bowl. And that game, if I'm not mistaken, was the middle of the week. Was it, John?
I believe. I think it was a Saturday night. I believe it was a Saturday night.
I'm trying to think why I did not go to the game. So, because I went on vacation. That's why. I went on vacation. That's the reason for that. And the place was empty. There was nobody there. And the Philadelphia fans were like, well, you guys don't support your team. But again, and I want to echo the words of a lot of people that are Orlando City fans that they follow Arsenal and Chelsea all their lives, or they're from England and that's their team. I can't blame them for wanting to go see their team live and in their hometown, So they went and supported the EPL Giants, and I think we lost 1-0. So 7:30 this Wednesday at Exploria. The record is 9-5-3. Ours is 7-5-5. John, you got some information about their lineup?
Yeah. So I mean, we're still going to be missing our three guys, Gillespie, Cartagena, and Torres, to international duty, but they're going to be missing 4 people to international duty, and then another guy is out due to injury. Those players are Andre Blake, Bizo, I think is how you pronounce it, Martinez, Gazdag, and then our friend Damian Lowe will be out injured as well. So they're missing 5 key pieces, especially Gazdag. I believe I'm saying his name correct. It could be, he's a big loss to them. So they're down worse than us, just like last time we played them when we won. So why not come back or stay? Win one for the home fans, for once, home supporters for once. Or the third time this year for us. So we should have a fighting chance. It's not like last week against New England when we were going against essentially a full, their full squad. They're down, like I said, 5 players, 6 players, whatever it may be, for international break and injury. So we, I like our chances. I do like our chances. Luckily, this offseason, we were able to reinforce the bench where it wouldn't be as big of a drop-off. And I just feel like, Saturday hopefully was a one-off where some guys weren't quite on their mark, and maybe Wednesday we come in and steal a victory while we're short.
All right, we have some comments here.
Yeah. William Aguilar, we have to get rid of Ojeda and find another good Brazilian. He's just taking a DP spot, and at this point you may have noticed he's not the guy we need in the team. Same for Kara. And then it's either Angel or Angel. If I said it wrong, I apologize. Just said hi. Hello.
Hello, my friend. I'll tell you what, when I'm going to tell you, the situation we had. Ojeda came to us from Argentina. As a matter of fact, the club was Godoy Cruz. 88 appearances and 29 goals in 2 years. That screams, come and sign me. And Orlando City wanted to get the guy a season earlier. How can I say this? I think that I don't know. You guys seen that show Chopped on Food Network? My wife used to be crazy about that thing a few years back. Where the show is chefs go to compete and they're given a basket with like weird ingredients like gummy bears with carrots and flour. They're supposed to make a dish out of that. It's not as ridiculous as what I just said, but I mean, it was pretty far-fetched. And, good chefs created great fruit out of these ridiculous dishes, these ingredients. Oscar Pareja has to be a good chef. MLS season is like Chop. You go out there and the club says, okay, you're gonna make this dessert: octopus, honey, and sea salt. Go. You gotta make something out of it, friends. You gotta make something. Injuries happen, weather happens, travel happens, international call-ups happen. A lot of things. Bad refereeing happens. A lot of things happen, and I think that we have a lot of players that you look at them individually. You look at their highlight reels. They have done very good in the teams before coming to Orlando City. The other thing is, there's a lot of things that happen off the pitch. We got to remember these people have to come here and they have to get used to a different country, a different language. Because, I tell you what, perhaps, you go to the game, you scream, blah, blah, blah. You get in your car, you go to work. Cool. Some of these guys have to go to Publix and buy food and struggle. Not all those guys are fluent in English. I can tell you that right now. I know that for a fact. Even with all the Spanish speakers that we have here, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, and they have families. They have, Ojeda has kids, has a wife. You know what I'm saying? Kids get sick, things happen, things back home, all that shebang. So there's a lot of factors that influence. Just like you have bad days at work and bad situations and crap like that. I mean, these guys are the same. So it's difficult to transition. The United States is a very difficult country to live in, especially if you're coming from Argentina. That it's not a first world country. and the Argentinians that are watching this, you forgive me. Trust me. I say that with a lot of respect and tact, because I know for us in Latin America is very difficult to understand that what we call normal here, it's been dead broke and poor. It's facts of life. And our stadiums here in MLS make as outside of some of the top Mexican teams, there's nothing that can compare to us. Not even Brazil. They look horse stables. Sorry, these clubs have 100 years of history, have trophies, have I get it, but when it comes to the structure itself, I'm sorry. You can smell the bathrooms of some of those stadiums 4 or 5 blocks away. Those are facts. So these guys are happy to be here. They want to win. Trust me, the last thing they want to hear is a fat middle-aged man like me demanding wins when these guys can do things that I can't. They're half my age for the most part. So it's on Oscar Pareja, I think. To make these guys gel, to make these guys play, to make these guys score. I'm on record, and so is John, that we think that we're not gonna do any better because our manager has us at a level and with a system that this is it. This is all it can give birth to, And I'm gonna be honest with you, when the first goal came in, I already knew it was either gonna be a tie or was gonna be a defeat, because the moments where Orlando City flourishes is against very, 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 very bad teams. That's why I said, as long as Orlando City keeps beating teams that are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we're gonna make playoffs. That's John, if you want to.
And don't forget, it's not like the front office is just sitting here picking these names out of a hat randomly. Oh, this guy looks good. Oscar Pareja has a say in what players we bring in. All these players on the team, I believe, except for maybe Janssen, are his players. So this is his team. There's no excuses. Well, we need to get his players in. All this that we heard for the last couple of years when we did have some players that he didn't necessarily select to come here. But these players are specifically his. And, I mean, I've never heard that analogy, David, but I absolutely loved it. He's got to create what ingredients he's put in front of himself. This isn't like he came into the situation with this current team and had to figure it out. He was the one that selected those players with the help of the front office. He selects them kind of the way I understand it is, he sits here and in meetings, he basically says, this is the player I want, and it's the front office's job to go out and sign that player.
He sets out, these are the needs. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you how it goes. I'm going to let you behind the current. I'm not going to say who told me, but if you know me, you may probably figure it out by now. Basically, the players that you see in the roster, they are picked by Ricardo Moreira and John Musi. Not John Musi. Luis Musi. I'm sorry, Luis Musi. Those are the guys that football operations for the club. They're the ones that make the decisions. Oscar Pareja says, "Hey, these are the needs of the club." They go and get the players. While in the process, they talk to Oscar. Hey, Oscar, we're looking at XYZ. And he looks into, okay, I think we can work with this. And then they proceed and they get whoever. Some of the players that we have made offers in the past, I said no. I had gone to bigger and bigger careers. Excuse me. Some of the players that we have thrown money at, they're like, forget it. No. And quite honestly, I don't care what the league says. There's a lot of people in Latin America and Europe that are not going to come to MLS unless they are 37 years old and owing child support to 7 baby mamas. That's it. Mm-hmm. Sorry to tell you that. So sorry to bust the bubble, because there's a question that we'd like to answer here in a second related to this. those are the facts, friends. So the fact of the matter is that Oscar Pareja is not involved in the signing. If he puts his input, but at the end of the day, the people that bring the players here, Ricardo Moreira, Luis Musi, you're gonna get mad. Go tweet at them. They read their social media. So that's it. Let's see here. We have several comments. Let's start with.
John Ames, do you think MLS is as competitive as Liga MX, or is it close? What about the Saudi League?
Go ahead.
I think the little bit I know about the Saudi League, yes, we're as competitive. They got a whole bunch of weird stuff going on right now with their public trade people going on, where they own a handful of teams, and that's how they're basically signing all these older stars and able to offer Messi, $2 billion or whatever the figure may be. So I do say MLS is more competitive than Saudi League. As far as Liga MX, no. I mean, it's close. It's very close. I'd say, our top teams are very close with their top teams. But if you go from top to bottom, their bottom is, somewhere near our middle ground of clubs. Just on the fact they don't have the roster restrictions. That kind of showed this year how, when we played Tigres, the talent that they had on the field versus what we were able to put on in a short amount of time. The roster restrictions over in Mexico are much less restrictive. I can't remember the forward for Tigres. David, maybe you can remember his name. He's French national.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He scored. No, he failed to score. He wouldn't get vaccinated.
Yeah,
so
he didn't come.
Play the second. I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
The MLS would have a very difficult time bringing somebody like him in, and still keeping a competitive team around him without having to do kind of what they're maybe not to the extent, but kind of what they're doing for Inter Fort Lauderdale with Messi and his pals. To kind of go off topic for a minute, if Miami signs any more people older than me, they're going to have to call themselves inter retirement or something like that, because I don't know if you saw today, they were probably going to butcher his name. They reported that they're signing Busquets now, former Barcelona player. He's my age. He's 34.
That guy's gonna get smoked in this league. He was a good defender when he was younger, but he's too slow.
Yep,
he's too slow. And you know what? This is what I'm saying, John. They're gonna sell a ton of shirts, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they're gonna sell a ton of merch, and they're gonna have everybody and their mother covering their games, but they're not gonna win.
Yep. But yeah, I mean that's my opinion on MLS competitive against Liga MX and Saudi. Do you have anything to add to that, David?
Yeah, for sure. I don't claim to be Middle East, expert. I follow my club in the Israeli league, but for political reasons, Israel does not play in the Asian confederations. They play in Europe. As a matter of fact, a little caveat here. This past week, we had history made where former Maccabi Haifa player Omer Atzili, this guy in MLS would have, oh my God, kill everybody, signed with a team in the United Arab Emirates, being the first Israeli player to ever play in an Arab league. So great. I'm always a firm believer that football is what's gonna, more football, less wars. That's how I view things. So this is fantastic. I have been to the UAE, Bahrain in my Navy days. I can tell you this about the Saudi League. Let's start with that first. The Saudi League is a league that the teams are basically owned by the league itself. There's very few cities. The stadiums are indoor, air conditioned, because it's the desert. Being in that part of the world in the winter. I can tell you, you cannot walk down the street without taking a gallon of water with you. it's very difficult. It's a very difficult place to play. It's an absolute monarchy, which means that the king has all absolute power. You cannot freely exercise your religion if you're not Muslim. They made an exception for Ronaldo, allowing him to have his living girlfriend. At this point, it's more of a what's that legal term? It's
partner, civil union.
No. It's so something marriage, common law marriage, which in the United States is defined as living together for 7 years. You're considered married. And if the lawyers out there, please don't jump on me. But anyways, they made changes on the Constitution or something like that to allow him to live with a woman that he's not married to. Women cannot drive there. So there's a lot of things that Saudi Arabia does not offer to the family of the players. But I mean, you're gonna make a crap load of money for sure. So as far as the talent, I believe we are better. Saudi Arabia, China, this type of places where they are throwing a lot of money to players pass their time. They're more like zoos. I will so call it that. Is where you go to see former players truly not give a damn and trot. Saudi Arabia, the fact is that how they are reaching the World Cup is, again, the best team in Asia is Israel. They don't let it play in Asia. So Saudi Arabia already doesn't have to compete against that. The Asian Confederation is having issues right now. I mean, look at the teams. Central Asia is a mess. North Korea, forget about it. Syria hasn't fielded a team in over a decade because of the unfortunate civil war. Yemen the same way. Qatar, I hope everybody took pictures of that national team because you're never going to see them again in a World Cup, that is. So there's a lot of things going on with them. So I just don't think they're at the MLS level. When it comes to Liga MX, the Mexican teams, like we have discussed, they don't have the shackles. So they have the opportunity to bring all the players that they want. But this is the thing that Mexicans will never tell you. And I love my Mexican people. This is the thing that Mexicans will never tell you. The fact is that when you are shackled, you are attached to the hip to the United States. It's the one Spanish country that has a land border with the United States. The influence of the American leagues is always going to be felt in Mexico. Okay? Mexico is an extension of the United States, and I know they're going to say that that's not true, but I'm telling you it is. I've been to Mexico. And I grew up in a U.S. territory, a Spanish-speaking U.S. territory like Puerto Rico, where I lived that duality of Latin American culture with American culture. And I'm telling you, Mexicans, your country is looking like an extension of the United States. The fact that you got rid of promotion relegation, the fact that your stadiums, your teams mimic what MLS is doing, the fact that MLS and Liga MX are in bed together and have been for many, many, many years because they're making a lot of money. The national teams, they're making a lot of money. Trust me. Mexico playing in Vegas, playing in LA, playing in Dallas, it doesn't happen because it happens because they know that these states have great Mexican populations and they're going to go there and they're going to pack the house. They're going to spend a lot of money. They're going to buy a lot of stuff. That's why that happens. So as far as are we competitive like Liga MX? No. As long as Liga MX can sign whoever, have 80 players in one roster, in all that, then we're never going to be as competitive as them. The fact that only one time an MLS team has defeated them in CCL, it's proof that what we have doesn't work. So I know it's a long-winded answer, John, if you don't mind.
Definitely. Before we go on, don't forget, I know we've had a packed show with comments and everything. We appreciate them. We're going to be wrapping up here soon, I'm sure. But if you want to join the show on the ticker on the bottom, don't forget you can DM us at any of our socials, which is on the Capo Stand, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or you can send an email to Take It David because it just went off the screen.
Yeah. 40fan76 at yahoo.com.
There we go.
If you want to jump on board And make it so, because friends, I gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so we are going to be wrapping it up here.
Yeah. William Aguilar.
Mhm.
I don't doubt that Ojeda is good given the numbers, but he just does not fit our team in the way Perea plays. If he wasn't a DP, I guess I'd be fine with him just being benched.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have, he continued, you can't have useless DPs and expect to win MLS Cup. That just doesn't happen. Look at all top teams. Their DPs really shine and make the headlines. Listen, 100% right, William. The fact is, with this coach, no offensive DP, unless it's somebody like a Nani or a Torres even that can really create their own shot, is going to work in his system. There's a reason Nani scored the goals he scored. That's because he created his own. You're not for Perea has never had, I forget the number, but had a high scoring striker, a high scoring winger. I believe the most he's ever had was 12 or 15. That's the number that came in my head. I didn't do research on it beforehand because I wasn't expecting to talk about this. But he hasn't had a high scoring attackers in general. All of his teams have been generally low scoring teams, generally defensive teams. Even when he was at other clubs, it was that way as well. He was let go from I'm blinking, the club before Orlando.
I'm sorry. I got distracted for a second.
The club before Orlando, before he coached in Orlando, Perea.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Tijuana.
Yeah, Tijuana. And he was let go because they weren't scoring goals. So essentially. So it's the way it is with him. Unfortunately, we did waste a DP spot where we could have gotten a, maybe another defensive midfielder, or which I'm not saying any of our defensive midfielders are doing a good job. Araujo and Cartagena are doing fantastic, but there's always somebody better out there as a professional athlete. But yeah, you're 100% right there, William. Go ahead, David. Take it away.
No, for sure. I would like to mention that after we're done this Wednesday, we're on the road this weekend. And where are we going? We're going to the Emerald City. We're going to Seattle. Seattle is one of the teams that I think we didn't get 3 points from them until, 5-6 years into the league. And I believe we have only won. I don't think we ever won in Seattle. Maybe once. Never
won in Seattle.
Maybe once. The one time I remember that when we first got points from them was that incredible Kaká free kick. Let's go down memory lane. Basically, PC gets fouled at the death, and Kaká takes a free kick, and what was his name? Sauter. It gets pushed down to the ground on his knees. He hits it in. Boom! At the death. We take a point on the road. I think it was on a Wednesday. On top of that, listen, same situation that we face in New England. Turf, NFL stadium. I don't have to tell you, rain's there all the time. That may be a factor. It's gonna be a long way, brother. Woo! It's a long trip from Orlando to Seattle. So there's a lot of factors. And I just don't see us getting anything there. They're a very good team. It's a long trip. We're going tired. We obviously we're playing Wednesday to playing again Saturday. So that means we are rehabbing on Thursday. And then Friday, we're jumping on a flight to go to Seattle to give ourselves time to get acclimated. It's 3 hours behind. There's a lot of factors here. So I don't know, guys. I put all my eggs on getting something against Eastern foe at home this Wednesday, and then light candles to all the saints in heaven come Saturday to see somebody has mercy on us. That's the way it is, John.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Orlando City has won once against Seattle.
Was it there or here?
That was past August.
Yeah, we came from behind last year, right? That's what it was. Yeah, I remember
Other than that, one draw, one loss. Seattle has 4 victories against us.
Woo, Nally.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the show, I've made the trip, direct flight back here. Actually, it was a red eye, most miserable experience, one of the most miserable experiences of my life. Never want to do that again. Can't be much more fun during the day. And then it's another turf game, another game where, for some reason, in a league that wants to be one of the top leagues in the world, we're playing on fake grass, which is a blasphemy to the beautiful game of soccer. If we come away with a draw, I'll be very, very happy. If we come away with a draw that's more than 0-0 or 1-1, I'll be over the moon. I said to begin with, especially if we win Wednesday, I said to begin with last week, going into the 3 matches, Saturday, Wednesday, and this coming Saturday, if we get out with 3 points, I'll be very content with that. If we get out with 4, I'll be over the moon. So Seattle's a good team. I believe they're third in the East, or third in the West, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Always a strong club, always one of the top teams in the MLS. Even with the teams in LA, Seattle and Seattle's always up there, and their supporters bring the noise, even though they're in an American football stadium.
Yep. And this the last games, guys. Last Saturday, they had a 3-3 tie against Charlotte at Charlotte. Charlotte, in my opinion, we gave them 3 points at home that we should have never have. Although, the last 2 games that we have played them, we have lost. And Wednesday, they're playing Wednesday in LAFC at ALFC. So thank God for that, because if they had the week off and we show up tired, jet lag, massacre.
Yep.
So that's the thing. And like you said, John, these folks are third in the East with a record of 12-17-5. Well, wait a minute, 12-17-5. That's must be a typo. People, hold on a second. This cannot be.
I got you, David. 8-4-6.
8-6. Yeah, absolutely.
They're on 28 points for the season right now.
The league needs to fix that. We're like 12-17. What what have I missed? But yeah, it's not easy, as you know. I believe that the West Coast has some of the strongest teams.
Mm-hmm.
Are gonna come in here, and we'll be wrapping it up after this.
Ahmed Salim, we need to come out full power from the start. We can't wait till we are behind to get in the game. And if we're signing these short-term contracts, how about playing them earlier? Absolutely, Ahmed. The guys that we're breaking up from Orlando City B are, if you don't pay attention to Orlando City B, are absolute ballers. There's a reason Orlando City B is one of the top teams in their division. These guys help. And they are very fun, very explosive, very exciting players on the soccer pitch.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So, guys, thank you for watching. Everybody that was watching us live, and everybody that will consume this on audio or video later on. I would like to remind everybody that you can be on the show. You can be on the show with us. All you gotta do is email us at footyfan76@yahoo.com to request the link. We tried putting the link out there, and it was disastrous. We're live on YouTube at Davis Channel 76. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch as at On the Capo Stand. At On the Capo Stand. And we'd like to thank you guys. Listen, we're not the most watched podcast. I get that. I get it partially because I am on this show. I get that. I'm a polarizing figure. The people that want to be put to bed with BS that the club wants you to hear, because they got nothing. They just want you to be at ease. they have their podcast. Those folks, they have their podcast. This podcast is for the renegades, for those that just want to vent out and want to learn about the club and talk and all that. And we do it not to make money. We do it because you wanted me back, and you wanted us back. That's the point. I was perfectly fine walking away from all this. You asked us to be back. We're back. So I believe that we have a comment here, John. And it's our friend William Aguilar.
Yep, William, I'll be on the show next week, guys. Just have a lot of homework right now, but I'll be joining next week. Thank you, William. We appreciate you.
It's all good. And I met Celine. Send us a message. Don't worry about it, my brother. Listen, not every week. I get it. There's live, and before John take us out, and there's another comment I would like to touch.
Yep.
I have work to do. I'm gonna be in Massachusetts the rest of the week. I gotta wake up before the Roosters. So again, we're doing this as a labor of love. There you go, John. This last comment, and we close it. I gotta
go. John Ames. I know there's still a lot of games left for the season, but I really want for Orlando to make the League Cup as a final. I want them to take it seriously. I want us to try to win the League Cup. Yeah, I mean that'd be very nice.
Play to win the game. The game. John, where can we find you in the internets?
You can find me on Twitter at thatboyjrdub, on Instagram jrdub15. And don't forget, guys, you can DM us throughout the week to get on the show. You may not get a response. I might, we might say gotcha, and then the link usually comes out on Saturday night or Sunday, depending on when David has time to get everything squared away on the back end of the show. Because honestly, if it wasn't for David, we wouldn't be here because he knows how to do all that stuff. And
I gotta teach you, because when I go on vacation, we have to have a show, but I'm not gonna be available.
Definitely. So if you guys want to help co-host the show in July when David,
there you go. I believe it's gonna be, if you give me 2 seconds. Well, hold on a second. Let me look at the calendar here. That's gonna be the Monday of because I'm leaving the 8th, coming back the 14th. So the 10th. If you wanna co-host with John, absolutely. And this puts me on the hot seat, John. We have to make room for a day so we can go over everything. So you can man the controls for that show. I can be found on Instagram at the _Florida_man76. I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. Please share with your friends so more people can join the community. Again, we just want people to share, because the show is yours. We allow you to come on the show. Not all the shows does that. The only things that we ask is just control your language, be respectful. That's all. Especially to me, because I know that my haters want to come. That's the funny thing. A lot of people talk trash online, and I'm like, hey, no problem. Here's the link. I'll see you on Monday. They never show up. All right, friends, let's support the boys this Wednesday and this Saturday, hopefully 6-point week. 6-point week. I declare it with my mouth.
I'd be crying tears of joy Saturday night.
There you go. And this Wednesday, I'm gonna be away. I'm gonna be in my hotel room, and a win is the only thing that I want. It's gonna bring me joy. I'm going. I gotta say this. I'm going to 2 accounts in Massachusetts. And the guys there are Revolution fans, and they are going to laugh at me. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care, because I'm a Open Cup champion, and they have never lifted a trophy in their lives. And they've been a founding club in this league. So there you go. Thank you, John, again. And I'll shut up. I'm the first one that says I got to go, and I keep yapping. Thank you, guys. We read the last comment. I just want to make sure. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Just like we always say, football is for those that don't mind getting their mouth smashed and their hearts broken. For John and myself, may God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando.